I am Erin Patton, metaphysical master in a millennial age, and it is my life's purpose to guide you and organizations along an enlightened path. So I invite you to sit comfortably and tune in as I welcome you to the Meta Business Millennial, where we get the real conversations you won't get in the boardroom so that we understand this is exactly the path we need to be on in order to grow, evolve, and thrive. Greetings, I am Erin Patton, and welcome to today's episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast. We are again live from Hawaii, the island of Kauai, and we are at home tonight with Max and Jasmine, and I'm just, as always, so happy to be here with you and share this moment with you, this experience with you. And, if you haven't already, I invite you to like this video, share it with a friend. We should be across all social media platforms on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. So you can check us out anywhere and DM us. Leave a comment if you feel so called to engage with us and learn more about what we talk about and share today. And with that, I don't know if we want to do quick intros, but we didn't do that last time, but
It's up to you.
I think we can just jump right.
Also check the last episode. So you can get up to speed.
Yeah. The last week's episode.
You might not hear it. A little bit of a continuation. So.
Yeah. So we're building upon last week's episode. So if you want to learn a little bit more about Max and Jasmine, you can check that out or go to their website, and we'll have that in the show notes. And we're just going to go ahead and jump in and get started. And I really wanted to start with my own personal experience because, as I always talk about in this podcast, I teach through my own journey and through my own experience. So everything that I share here is from me and my truth. And we really can't argue with that because it's my experience. And so I came to Hawaii honestly to celebrate my 40th birthday, a huge major milestone in my life, and also to my intention to clarify my life's purpose, why I fucking came to this planet. Okay. And I know that, that's a big thing to put on, one trip, but I really felt like I could accomplish that. I had been doing the work with Max and Jasmine for over 2 years to really know myself deeply and more recently know my purpose. And I talk about this a lot on the podcast in terms of casting a vision, seeing where you're going, knowing your purpose, and that supporting your journey and really giving you that joy and that inspiration, if you will, to wake up every morning and do the work because you have that purpose so clearly. And I have to say that I got that. Y'all, I got it. Thank you. And it's interesting because leading up to it, I kind of got a talk. I had a moment of harmonization with Max and Jasmine, and they're like, I hope, that we're making progress and we're moving along and we're actually, you're getting your investment out of this trip. We really want you to get what you want out of this. And literally the very next day, we went to Secrets Beach. It's this beautiful beach, and I've posted it on my story and probably share it on my feed with massive sand and huge cliffs and powerful waves that are menacing and scary. And it was the perfect landscape to really explore the depths of myself. And with the assistance of advanced plant medicine, I was able to go on a journey to really awaken my soul divinity, if you will, and really embody all that is my soul in this avatar that you see. And it felt like being born again, literally, and walking for the first time and seeing the world for the first time and getting scared and startled by things and having to calm myself and purging and primordial screams, all the above, were part of that advanced plant medicine journey. and ceremony is what I call it, a mimosa ceremony. And I really felt like my third eye, my all my senses, my light body, if you will, is fully awakened. And the things that I saw, the experiences that I, was going through, I honestly feel like I'm going to be integrating for the rest of my life. Like, it's really that big of a calling that I saw, that I received, and I accepted it gladly. Like, I feel like God was like, this is your mission if you choose to accept. And I was like, yes, gladly. Thank you, God, for choosing me. And that's exactly how I feel. And I'm getting chills right now talking about it, because I just remember as a little girl, like, I was such a devout Catholic, and I was an altar server, and I just always loved God so much. And I wanted to serve God and serve humanity. And I just saw myself as being like the president of the United States or Miss America or something like that. And whatever happened on that day is so much bigger than any of those things. I don't even have words for it yet. And so this is what New Earth leadership is. It's just something that we don't even know how big and how amazing and how fantastic the leadership role will be. It's going to be something like we've never seen before. And thank God for that. You know what I'm saying? Like, who would want to continue to live in this paradigm with this kind of destruction and duality and, discrimination and all the things that are wrong with society? We have to rewrite the codes. And in many ways, I feel like I started to receive the downloads for that program. And so with that, I wanted to start to dive a little bit deeper into the technical aspects of what I experienced, because I'm sure it sounds a lot like woo-woo, mumbo jumbo, which it is. But at the same time, there are technical aspects to what I experienced. And so how about I just hand the mic over to you guys to start dissecting what it is that I did.
Anything you like to say, sweetheart? Either way. I could go either way. Just as an introduction for those that didn't watch the last episode, Jasmine and I offer transformational work for advanced souls who are interested in fulfilling their life purpose. And we do it through mentoring, coaching, and training. So we train them with the skills necessary so that you are able to go into life to do those things and ready to do that. So that's just like high level. And we don't really talk a lot about our plant medicine work because it is very sacred and it's entirely different than really all of the other plant medicines out there. Very different than bufo, very different than ayahuasca, very different than shrooms. All of them, it's very different. And it is very specifically designed for like advanced souls. The catch-22 is not every soul knows that they're an advanced soul. So, but yeah, Erin didn't know that she was that. She didn't just didn't know, and that's fine. You wouldn't know. So, but if you're attracted to our work and you really like our message, then you probably are. But if you don't like us, then, well, I don't know. Maybe it could just be a different path. So that's fine. But anyways, do you want to say something? Oh, no, you were talking. Yeah. So we don't really talk a lot about that in here. We're talking on our podcast about it. But per her request, Erin's request. But it is important, and it is probably important for us to talk about that because it is a very fundamental part of our work, and we use it very specifically, not as an escapist tool, but rather as to bring you more here, actually, which is totally different than the way most people approach consciousness expanding methodologies. So we use it in a way that helps people access higher aspects of their being so that they can reconnect with those components and then actually really be able to live here connected vertically across the many layers of their being. And this is not your first time doing this with us. You've done this with us many, many times. And now we're just starting to tap into the this is a really radical awakening, I feel, for you. I mean, you should have seen this girl. It was like you had been like, yep, I get that this is like a rebirthing part. And we don't like try to do like rebirthing per se or anything like that. It's just more that like when we reconnect deeply to some of these greater aspects of our being, we can come back and like really look at the life from a whole new view again. She really did kind of walk around like trying to like, oh, this is what it's like to walk. So, it's almost as if like, one eye was covered your whole life, and then you open and you're getting a sense of what it is to move in this third dimensional world again, right? Mm-hmm. So, there's going to be a lot of things that open up for you. And we've been here for like 9 days now, for like, quite a while. And we've been working with it, not every day, but kind of with our own rhythm. And, I remember in some of the earlier days, I did start seeing your third eye, like going to a whole new level. Like really, I saw that. I'm sure Jasmine saw it too. But then we had this deeper cosmic awakening and you've already awakened to many deep aspects to yourself. Mm-hmm. But really, this felt like a really powerful, very thorough, deep, at a new level. It was just at a new level. It's hard to really say, but yeah, I really saw this is going to impact the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You stepped out of it seeing that you're going to be busy for the rest of your life with this level of work. And I'll tell you, I had a very profound awakening, which is what led me to do the work that I do today. Also about 7 or so years ago. And that's going to keep me busy for the rest of my 1,000 years and 2,000 years of being here. So, I'm saying there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle here. And I think the thing I want to say, and I've been blabbering a little bit here, but the thing I want to say as a message to you, if you're listening here, is that a lot of times in our daily life, and as we get involved in the New Age movement and start, getting more interested in things like astrology and yoga and meditation, right? I don't think that those are very good, and we use those, we recommend those. The thing that these things don't offer or really encapsulate is the vastness to not just the universe, but to everything that's happening right now, like in our world. And they also don't really bring us necessarily to the profound nature of not just our own being, but some of the sacred nature to our relationships, to how it is that why we're even here. Like, these are potentially very profound and sacred agreements that we've made either with God and or other high good level beings. And it's hard to really have a good sense of what's happening in the world without that. Like, you really can't do it. And that's a lot of what leads to this kind of like push-pull ego structure, I think, that is even, this in all walks of life, but it's in the new age movements also, and that leads to a lot of dissatisfaction, because I think we all want to be living in a lot of health and happiness and harmony, but because there's not like good leaders and those environments are not created for us to actually be safe emotionally, spiritually, and physically, it leads us to still maintain a certain level of combativeness. And that is what changes a lot of that is when we evolve our paradigm and understanding, that brings us back to some of this deeper work. Anything you want to share, sweetheart? Or
I can talk about.
Well, you can say a little bit if you want.
You want me to segue on what you're saying?
Whatever you want. Whatever.
Okay. Well, so Max and I, in our Divine Union, part of our purpose and our mission is to serve New Earth leaders. And so we train and prepare men and women for stepping into this leadership position that is part of their destiny. It's part of the divine plan and as God would have it be. So we woke up and are downloaded with very specific abilities and gifts to prepare these women and men that are, we call New Earth leaders. They're also advanced souls, but usually you don't know you're an advanced soul. But I would say that you would feel on some level that you came here for something. You just don't remember it yet from a limited ego construct, and that's normal. That's part of the process. Or another way to identify it is if you know you deserve kind of an abundant and rich and satisfying, joyful, easeful life, and despite your best efforts and like putting the work in, going for it, right? Sincerely and being ambitious and really putting all you got into it, that you haven't achieved that yet. So I would say those are the two main ways that I see for identifying these New Earth leaders. And so the process, though, that we take these men and women on is like one aspect of it is awakening to your soul identity. And so it kind of relates to the light body and everything we talked about now, because it's so strange to think that you don't already know who you are, right? It's so strange. But we've been working with Erin for a few years, and so there's a lot of different steps I won't get into now, but that we get downloaded specifically in sequences for our clients and who we're serving, and there's a different order and different sequence for their unique spiritual awakening. But that spiritual awakening isn't awakening to like what's going on in the world. It's like awakening to who you are. And it's not some cliche thing to be like, oh, you are divine and you are one with all life. It's very, very specific, like your soul identity. It's like your higher self, but really like your soul. And that also relates to this whole topic that Erin wanted to speak about or have me go into with the light body, because I've been doing multiple light body upgrades and awakening for Erin in this preparation to where we got to now for her to discover her divine purpose directly. And so it's pretty cool. So, and with the light body activations, I want to say that the way that Max and I work with it is very unique. It's proprietary to how we are able to serve. So I don't know how other people do it, but the way we do it, it is allowing you to then access your soul. So we have a light body, and because we're multidimensional beings, so we have a lot of things that make up who we are. Like we have this physical flesh, we have emotional body, mental body, and a lot of people understand that they have energy bodies or chakras. But I would say the light body is like a higher, more refined energy body than the vibrational centers, than the typical aura. But it is an access to where like you need to have it, the structure built out, activated, awakened, and plugged in for then you to access your soul identity. So that's different than just your higher self, but your higher self can still be like a higher aspect of the mental plane. Like it is still part of you, but then it's really your soul identity that is what the light body activations then provide that foundation. So I would say that after I worked on, there's a lot of also great benefits with working the light body that I can get into, but I feel that because it was Erin didn't really understand it, but then she got the result of accessing the soul identity. So maybe she'd want to speak about that, because I think it's pretty incredible just to talk about it, because it's so unique and personal and you experience it directly. And we were both very also taken back and shocked to be able to witness, such a blessing and honor for us to be able to see that aspect of Erin too, because we already are able to see many sides of her, and it's such an honor. But then when there is this larger aspect of the soul that's ready and willing to plug back in and connect in, so that we can then work from that level of integration and preparation for her divine purpose, which she's discovered on this trip. It's just so incredible.
I can't beat that.
Yeah, that was really good. And I guess I can start walking through this step-by-step process, because I think that's also important for folks, because to their point, like, I'm learning here with you around the technicalities of the light body and how it integrates with the other aspects of ourselves, our higher selves, I didn't even realize was separate from that, or, distinct from it. And
But to just clarify, we usually there's various you can talk about something very generally, say you were in a room, or you could say, or we're in a bathroom, or we're in a kitchen, right? So when we say higher aspects of our being, it's more general. So it's like, there's like light body, there's astral body, you could break down the light body into many layers even within just that. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of terminology, and it's not really always necessary for people to really know it all. I mean, people can make it up, and then you can start like arguing about this or that. Is like, at the end of the day, we kind of just put words to just what we at our soul level know and understand, and we just try to translate it down. And certainly we can upgrade our language, and if we decide, oh, this language is actually not as accurate later in the future, then we like upgrade it. But it's kind of like built around actually just the wisdom of our own souls, knowing how to do it, and that just fit the language in to try to make it make sense for others is really how we do it. Did you want to say something, Jay?
Yeah, I like what you said, because the technicalities don't really matter. It's about like the results, or I think you'd be more interested in the results of what it does for you. And it's just one of the methodologies we use in training and preparing our New Earth Leader clients. So it's just one area we do. Again, first of all, because you need it to link to your soul, and then also to expand your consciousness.
You're talking about the light body.
Yeah, the light body work, because I talk a lot about in that preparation stage for New Earth leadership that you have to be soul embodied. So not only do you, like on this path, you'll awaken to your unique soul identity, but then you have to be able to integrate that aspect of you, like your soul, and you have to embody it. So the light body, when you get it upgraded, you can then translate more expanded consciousness, and you need that in order to fulfill your mission, because the solutions that you have to provide for humanity to build a new golden age for mankind, or to influence millions, is going to be something that isn't on the planet right now. So it needs to be downloaded. And then there's a whole thing about soul evolution to prepare for that, because you need to be that much ahead of everybody and healing generational trauma, and your ability for clearing dysfunction and this type of consciousness that doesn't allow you to be fruitful or to really do something in such a divine way. And so there's even more preparation that we are, I guess, commissioned or like qualified to provide. So it's the embodiment process for the soul that the light body activations are helping, and then you can talk about like awakening to your divine purpose. And that is another big thing that you get on a New Earth leadership path. So we've been preparing for this. And for Erin, it was awakening to her soul first. And then we knew that we were ready because of those progressive light body activations, because we work with her a lot. Like, she's been working hard. I mean, all of us have been working hard to arrive at this moment for her to directly experience that. And it's irreplaceable.
Thanks for letting us do a little tangent, Erin.
Oh, no problem, because I think that's really important for people to have more of a context as I speak to the experience, because it also reminded me that when I started my Tai Chi journey, which was a couple years before I met Max and Jasmine, I was so numb in my body that we would be doing what we call donjon tapping. So it's literally like you're just tapping your sacral chakra, and I would do it for like an hour and wouldn't feel anything. And so essentially the purpose of the Tai Chi practice was to awaken what we call the senses and awaken the physical body. Because, if we're trying to bring my soul into my body, but I can't even feel my body, that's kind of a pointless pursuit, So that's why it was so important, to Jasmine's point about me doing the work in advance before even getting to where we are today. And even before I met them, I was preparing to meet them, so that even that the work that they were doing would actually be sufficient for my growth and my soul evolution. And so to go back to that Tai Chi practice, as I started to awaken the sense in my body, it got to a point where I could deeply feel, into my body. I could feel like my tailbone. I could feel, energies in my chakra centers. I could feel my legs, because it had gotten to the point literally where, I had been drinking so much or smoking so much weed or shutting off my emotions or, my throat chakra was so closed or not speaking up and speaking my truth that my body and my being was just numb. And I feel this for a lot of people out there that may not even realize it, whether you're on Xanax or whatever it is, like we're doing a lot of things, physically, materially, and immaterially that numb our senses and numb our bodies. And the more we can awaken to that, the feeling and the emotion enables the light body to start to have a place to anchor into. So I started with Max and Jasmine in a women's circle, and every day every session we would talk about different goddesses, and this was an important learning journey for me because I actually knew nothing about goddesses, and I had a very deep connection to Mary Magdalene, who coincidentally and maybe not coincidentally is my mom's name. Her name is Mary Madeline, Mary Madeline Riggs Patton. And, and so, I got to learn about all these different goddesses and their journeys, and also could see myself and my own this lifetime experiences in each of them, in all of them. And so that really began to, just give me some confidence and some courage in myself. Like, God damn it, yes, I'm a goddess. And that just acknowledgement really started to elevate my own consciousness around who I could be, if you will, just by, to your point, upgrading my language about myself. And, we hear so much about God, we hear so much about the man God, and I had been doing a lot of consciousness studies, primarily led by men. So it was always a focus on God, the masculine, and not goddess or goddess in the feminine. And so that really, really started to awaken aspects of myself that had never been, aware before. And that is when I decided, like, hey, I really want to work with Max and Jasmine, and especially we were doing their soulmate. I did their soulmate academy right after that because I was really and still am really focused on attracting my divine union partner, my divine union mate, and preparing my own being physically and energetically to do so, and not really knowing before then about what Heros Gamos was, or this essentially this balancing of the masculine and feminine aspects of myself. And that was also a beautiful learning journey. And it was, class structure, which you guys already know. Got multiple degrees, so I'm a very good student. So all of these structures deeply resonated with me and were very supportive in my spiritual education journey, because I could learn really well from books and teaching and instruction and lectures. And then we started to get into the woo-woo stuff, and that was when I started to engage Max and Jasmine for one-on-one mentorship. And what this looked like to many people was like talk therapy, I just show up in the Zoom room. They lived in Florida. I'm based in Houston, as many of you know, and I had actually worked with them for a long time before I met them in person, and felt very comfortably in doing so, and would talk with them. We'd have 90-minute sessions, but generally because of my eagerness, we talk way more than 90 minutes every time. And I would meet sometimes with both of them in the same week. So they'd be weekly meetings or bi-weekly meetings. And in some of my sessions with Jasmine, she would be more technically focused. So she'd do energy activations, light body activations. Sometimes we do movement, therapy, if you will, opening of the hips. And then also Max has his own a methodology, if you will, where he uses his voice as a healing tool. And I'll allow him to speak more to that too if he wishes. And so when I had sessions with him, sometimes there'd be no words exchanged. It'd be energy transmission where I'd just be receiving sounds from him, like what do you call it? Didgeridoo, like like, and it for me it's very beautiful, but a lot of people find it funny or quirky, and yeah. And so and actually this was the nature of my work with them for the past few years. And as I started working with them, to everybody's biggest fear, shit started to unravel in my life, okay? And I'm not gonna be ashamed about it. I'm not gonna, hide that. But things started to really fall apart. Of course, so they can be put back together again, more precisely and more beautifully, okay? They needed to fall apart because the shit was fucked up. It was built bad. And so I had to have these things unravel a bit so that we can weave them together more beautifully. And I remember when I started working with Max, he told me like my energy was like a ball of like tangled yarn, like that needed to be unraveled. And so that was literally what was happening. And so as I was, of course, going through the court processes, as I was going through the breakups to makeups and the family fallouts, the business fallouts, the other energy healer fallouts that I was working with, they were by my side. And so very deep trust has been built and was being cultivated over this time as I was going through very tumultuous trials and tribulations where actually no one else could advise me on because no one else had the experience to. And so I'm on, like I said, I'm advanced soul on a very unique path. And so there aren't too many people in the world who have the experience to support me, to be honest. And I've always felt that way to much of my life. Hence why I really never had mentors, is because there had been no one to live a life that like I've led or lived. And so not to say that they have, but they've been ordained, blessed, divinely appointed to support people like me with their gifts. And so they were there to help me strategize, to meet with attorneys, to do business, like I said, business, help me with my business offerings, everything from the most minute aspects of my life to the most mundane to the most advanced, complex, challenging. They have been there and are there for me. And so I can just pause there.
I want to say also thank you for sharing all of that because, well, it makes me want to cry but also can you translate for me? You might know a better way to say it.
There's a lot to say. And, a couple of things that I thought were really, really interesting and cool that we could, it's great for us to share. And is that the first thing that I was thinking is that, I feel like right now your brand, your presence in the world is just getting started, first of all. And, there's always like that look back to when people, it's a look back to when Bitcoin was nothing. It's looking back to before the Tesla stock, before Apple stock. It's like, it's like this is like that, you know what I'm saying? You're like that type of a person. And it's part of my message also to like really let people know, and here, Erin's being so generous and sharing about herself, which is so awesome. And I really hope everybody like values that's listening. But I want you all to really understand that when she says she's like going, weekly, bi-weekly sessions and all this stuff, like, when you see her have like this massive results and stuff like that, first of all, that's appropriate for her. But second of all, like, we don't want anybody to be jealous because she put her time in, and you can go get your own results. It's just going to be your own work. You know what I'm saying? And when you do that for yourself, nobody's going to be able to take it away. So, we don't know right now where you are at in your life. You know what I'm saying? And wherever you're at, good or bad, it's appropriate for you, and you're going to have your own journey to move forward in life, right? So, you just need to honor and respect where you're at, because that's how you're going to get some traction. Because, you know, part of the work initially with Aaron's like, well, we got to like, just like really respect where you're at. Maybe it's like, we want to be over here, obviously, but if we're not like dealing with where you're at, we're never going to get, we don't have anything to build off of, right? So I really want everybody to just take some of this in. Since I have the mic, I'm going to have to school everybody a little bit, because that's my job. My job is to like bring it in a little bit, because there's a lot of like, everybody wants great results, and everybody can have what's right for you. And it doesn't need to be, there's not going to be another Aaron Penn. There's not going to be a Max Light. There's not going to be another Jasmine Rose. But whoever you are, you might have some really awesome thing to birth into the world. But there still is probably a whole lot of work between where you are at now and birthing that. So that's why we have all of our online programs. You know, working with us individually can be very high investment monetarily, but also with your time. So we really want to help people as much as they can. But, you know, for those that are ready, it's really, I just wanted you to know that support is available, and it's massively different than it not being available. You know, even though, you know, maybe it'll, you know, I mean, buying a house is a lot of money, you know what I'm saying? But restructuring your whole being is far more complicated than a house, like orders of magnitude more complicated. And so again, we're not all really appreciating the vastness of the world and all the components that are there and our integration with it. I could go on and on and on. Did you want to say something? Yeah.
Well, last episode, we really got into that topic of work and like, what is the work? Because Aaron was saying that's very difficult to explain. It is difficult to explain. And I do like everything Max said, 'cause I do think that's important. But on the other side, I do want to say what's really beautiful, though, with our divine union is if you're like really committed to doing like your part and committed to stepping into your divine purpose, like discovering that and fulfilling this type of destiny purpose that is what God wants for you, Max and I can do a lot of the heavy lifting. So I'll have Erin share how she experienced the work, like if it was really difficult. But in my opinion, like compared to the type of work you're already doing, it's nothing. It's just because like I just go, like she says, like sometimes we'll talk back and forth if I need to teach her something or help her understand something. But a lot of times she just has to show up and I'm doing all the work, you know, dimensionally based on what I'm capable of doing and restructuring things. And yes, like I guess another benefit why I like doing the light body activations and some of the energy work is like it helps the areas that are most resistant to transformation actually get resolved. Because sometimes like your best attempt is like you can't actually get past this and you need someone to help. And so that's one area. But so the type of work though is like, for another aspect, what's so interesting is like people really do want to grow, but the methodologies and the systems out there really cannot help you with that full transformation. So even if you don't want to be a new earth leader, like our programs are here just so you can actually like create, we call it like your personal paradise on earth, like actually just live like a good life, you know, and have functional relationships and have your personal power working for you. And so just to clarify why it hasn't been this way or why it's been such a challenge is like Aaron was explaining a little bit earlier about being so numbed out. And so many people live this way because there aren't tools to actually know how to deal with the psychic navigation and the higher sensory perception. So even very advanced like seers, so there's like clairs if you have heard about psychic abilities, but even beyond that, like there's other advanced abilities your soul has that can be unlocked. But just in terms of a comparison, people who have the clairs or different psychic abilities, they're usually still just a small amount, are only hitting certain dimensions because like it's so much work to know how to process emotions and then also read the psychic information. That's why we have courses on it and we train new earth leaders because there's a lot of training you have to do, also learning how to clear to some degree. Luckily Max and I can do a lot of the heavy lifting, so then Erin just learns her part that's relevant for her particular New Earth leadership. So I just wanted you not to punish yourself if you feel like the best you've got was to be numbed out in some way, because a lot of our clients started off as children. They were psychically open, either in some of the different clairs, and then you shut it down or you numb out, because you just can't function in third dimension with all that extra information if you don't have good guidance or different systems just built in the world and society to be able to do that in a healthy way. So it's not your fault that the best you got at some point was to be fractured or numbed out. So yeah.
There's a piece I do want to just touch on this other piece. Is it okay if I add another piece? I want to just put the context on why we're doing this work to some degree. And the reason is that, a lot of us just want to enjoy life, right? If you're sane at any level, you just want to enjoy life. You want to hang out with your friends, go to the beach, if you have a boat, go boating, have a juicy relationship, enjoy maybe your family, eat good food. You know what I'm saying? We want to do those things. The problem is that was no longer going to be available for the planet. The planet was going to such a level of degradation that those options were no longer going to be available. You wouldn't be able to do any of those things because it would be in such turmoil and such awfulness that it would be it would be really awful. Think of hell, basically, So that's what's kind of why we have these advanced souls. So it's actually, I want to just reaffirm that it's really important. We're still all working, it's going to be fine. There's no awful future anymore, right? But there's still a lot of work for us to do, right? So if you do feel a call to some of this deeper work, then I'm just going to encourage you that, first of all, that's your path into great and legacy wealth. It's also your path into incredible love and relationships. And it's also just your path into just deeper fulfillment in your life.
Did you really love this episode of the Meta Business Millennial Podcast? Well, I am honored, and I appreciate you subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends, because your feedback allows us to co-create more enlightened conversations. And if you're interested in growing your soul now, head over to my website, erinpatton.com, to find all the show notes, links, and free resources to get your energy activated today. In the meantime, stay bright, my friends. Much love and light. Peace.